So again, we need to store this electricity right here for later in the day or over here. An air conditioner, for example, uses about 3,000 watts for an average air conditioner for an average house. It could be more, 4,000 or less, depending on what size air conditioner you have. This computer right here, this Apple here, it's going to use about 200 watts. So you see there's a big difference. If you look at these packages of LED lights, it says 8.8 watts. So it only takes 8.8 watts to run this light bulb. So the air conditioner is the target, and it is the actual the cause of the situation. It's the big in hot areas. It's the biggest consumer of electricity during the summertime for a house. On average, it's where so we want to somehow be able to make all of our cooling. Too bad we can't run our air conditioner right here, use up all this power, and keep our house cool over into this time of the day. Well, we can. That's called thermal energy storage. We store cold from this time. We make our cold during this time, and we store the cold until this time, even after the sun's going down, and we can keep our house cool. All right, so thermal energy storage is usually about a third of the price of battery storage, chemical battery storage. So it's much, much less expensive. And I'm going to then show you how this innovation works so that you can, then you'll understand when I get done, you'll see why it doesn't have to be an expensive solution. It can be cost effective. So, okay, so let's take a look at this here. This is, look at that. Just a tube. It's a tube that I bent up, like you can get from Home Depot. Okay, this is one singular tube. It comes in here. It goes around and around and around and around, and then it comes up here. It's one single piece of copper tube. Okay, and here's how we can use thermal storage. Okay, we take this tube and we put it in this water here, like this. There we go. See the tube sitting down in the water? All right, then we go ahead and we put in a fluid into here, 32 degrees. Okay? Remember, water freezes at 32 degrees. So excuse me, I'm wrong. We put it in at 22 degrees. A fluid goes in here at 22 degrees. And it goes out and it comes up here. So because it goes in at 22 degrees, it's below freezing. So what's going to start to happen is you're going to start to see on the pipe, on the tubes, you'll start to see ice form. And it'll keep forming. And we'll basically end up making ice in here. This thing will become a block of ice. Okay, so good. Now you made a block of ice. So what are you going to do with a block of ice? You still need to cool the house. Then we'll go ahead. Here, let me show you in pictures what we're doing here. So this is the same as this right here. So we take 22 degree fluid and we go up here, we back and forth, that's this part right here, and we run the fluid through at 22 degrees. You'll start to see ice form on the tube like this, and we'll make ice. Great. So now that we've made our ice, and we're going to do that, we're going to make all that ice, you guessed it, during that time when we have all that electricity. We're going to work our air conditioner really hard to make this ice. All right, now we need to get cooling for this time over here. See over here, right there, we need cooling then. All right, the sun's gone down, but we still need to cool our house. All right, so what are we going to do then? Now we're going to run a fluid through this pipe again, and it's going to be 43 degrees. So it's going to be warmer than 32 degrees. So we're going to run it through this tube. It's going to go through the whole tube. It's going to come out right here. and it's going to be cold because it's running through a tube that's encased in ice. Okay, so let's show you a picture here. So then we're going to do this. We're going to run 42 degree fluid. It's going to go through here. See all the ice on the side here? Okay, so we're going to run it through, and it's going to come out at 32 degrees. So it's going to cool this 42 degree fluid, and we're going to have this 32 degree fluid. So we got 32 degree fluid. We can use that to cool the house. All right. So now what we're going to do next is we're going to show you how we cool the house. But also let me clear up a word. Let's make sure we all understand. There's a word called a heat exchanger. This is a heat exchanger. Why is it a heat exchanger? It's a heat exchanger because it exchanges heat. The fluid doesn't actually mix with the water, but it exchanges heat with the water. So if the fluid is colder than the water, it'll make the water freeze, but the fluids never interexchange. They don't mix. And the same thing, when I need to cool the fluid, I put a 43 degree fluid in here and it comes out colder. It's melting the ice, and it's still acting as a heat exchanger, but in the reverse direction. Now we're melting the ice. So anyway, this is a heat exchanger. This is what this is, and that's what the word of the meaning is. We're gonna be using that word a little bit more coming up here.